Field to your fantasy lineup. Let's go! Bringing the lockdown, dropping bombs. Make some noise for the defensive dominator, IDP Hunter!
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the real IDP Hunter. I wanted to give you a different kind of video today. I wanted to show you guys what is happening right now in these early drafts. I'm coming from a different location. Heck, I'm on Pluto right now. I'm so happy the draft is over. This is a 12-team Superflex tight end premium with IDP, just to keep everybody here involved in the scoring format. The 1.1 has been love all offseason, so we're not going to spend time here. Where the draft gets interesting is the 1.2. The 1.2, you have a choice between Tate, Lemon, and Tyson. I prefer Tate. Tate is the guy that I've been looking at all offseason, and he landed at the perfect location with the Titans. All he's got to do is beat out Wendell Robinson. Not hard to do. The case for Tate is even clearer. He had 160 targets in college last season, and he caught 100 of them. So I'm kind of interested. Our 1.3 would be Lemon, followed by the 1.4 Tyson. The 1.5, an obvious superflex, should be Mendoza. Now we get to the 1.6, we got to have a conversation. Right now, the ADP isn't showing this yet, but Price, who got selected in the first round by the Seahawks, it's a very interesting prospect. And I think by when rookie league drafts start happening, I think you're going to start to see that a little bit more and more. Price at the 1.6 is fair value, considering that he is a first round graded running back. On top of that, the case for Price comes even clearer when you look at Charbonnet's hurt early in the season. So if he has good games, he probably will carve out a role more than just a timeshare. We'll see. 1.7 is Sadiq. Sadiq is interesting too, because there's a lot of places right now. They have him all the way high as a Dynasty TE9. So all of those picks I feel like are pretty chalk, are pretty standard, are pretty decent. When you get to the 1.8 and the 1.10, I'm going to read them in order because they're all kind of scary to me. 1.8 KC Conception, 1.9 Omar Cooper, 1.10 Denzel Boston. It's a little scary to me because we don't know who the alpha is going to be on the Browns between Conception and Boston. We also don't know the quarterback. We also have Jerry Jeudy there. So I'm kind of fading them based on where the consensus is dropping them. In between those two picks, I have a Conception, then Boston. In between those two picks, Omar Cooper, wide receiver 2 of the Jets. It's a little bit of a scary landing spot for me. The draft really picks up for me when we get to these last two picks, the 1.11 and 1.12. Like we were talking about earlier this year, you're going to have to make a decision on what IDP do you like here. Between Styles and Reese, I think the decision's a little clearer, considering that Reese was drafted by the Giants, and they're going to play him as a will linebacker and move him around a bit. Styles is your true 3-down tackle-heavy leagues. Styles the guy that I'm targeting. But again, I've seen it both ways. I've seen in early drafts Reese Styles, and I've seen it Styles Reese. Whichever way you want to do it, fine by me. But I think the back end of this round is where you want to target your top IDP. The reason being is from 1.10 all the way to like 2.5, a lot of those guys, I don't really have a solid pecking order. And a lot of those guys in leagues, people are going to take their favorites. This is probably the first time in a couple of years where I don't want an early second pick. No, I'd rather a later second round pick. And I'll explain in a second. When we hit the second round, guys, 2.1 Ty Simpson, 2.2 Eli Stowers, 2.3 Bernard, 2.4 Williams, and 2.5 Braswell. All of those guys, all of them are dynasty stashes. You're waiting probably a year for those guys to pop. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not interested in either one of those prospects, but that's where they've been going. We get to 2.6, David Bailey comes off the board. And this is where the draft gets interesting for me again. David Bailey is one of those prospects that we were all kind of interested in, but we weren't sure how it was going to happen for him. Well, David Bailey went to the Jets, who famously were 31st in sacks, and they didn't give an interception up all last year. They're retooling this thing. He's going to be on the edge with Will McDonald. They're going to be an athletic duo. However, they're going to be a little lighter. They're going to be tested against the run. Now, will his run support show up? I think he'll be decent. Maybe not elite, but he'll be decent. And PFF reflects that. He had a 9% run stop rate. That was in the 85 percentile. At the same time, his overall consistency is 76.4. That was 164th. Now, it's not the greatest, but it's passable. He's going to have to get a little bit better in his missed tackle rate of 15.8. So I guess what I'm trying to say is he's going to be more of a disruptive force, maybe not necessarily reliable on tackles, and that's okay with me. I don't mind him just playing his game, which is being a pass rusher, not a run defender. And if you're drafting Bailey, to be fair, you're probably in a big three scoring. You want this guy who tied the nation in sacks with 14.5, 20.7 pressure rate. You want this guy to be disruptive. He's going to be one of the 2-3 top players that come off your board. Moving on here, after you get past David Bailey, the Reese and the Styles, you got to have a conversation with yourself. And do you think C.J. Allen is the guy? I say so. C.J. Allen projects with the Colts as a 3-down linebacker. We had him as high as LB2 during the offseason. This is what the Georgia Bulldogs do. They breed linebackers down there. And C.J. Allen is another good one. Simply put, he's kind of overlooked because he didn't do any of the combine drills and whatnot. But he ranked 5th with an 89.8 as far as run defense grade goes. And he also ranked in the top 9 amongst all Power 5 linebackers, and missed tackle rate was just 6.9%. I'm kind of interested in him, and I'm seeing how that plays out. But I would definitely take those two guys. And if you notice this year, this draft is a little bit different. We have 4 defenders going in the first 2 rounds. How neat's that? Well, I'm about to add a 5th. 2.8, Caleb Downs. Now, here's where this thing gets interesting again. Caleb Downs. I know I was in somebody's Discord and I was saying, Caleb Downs. Some jackass is going to take him early. Well, now I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. He joins the Cowboys, which the one thing about that defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, he knows how to groom defensive backs. He got an all-pro season out of Jeter Barrett. He got a Pro Bowl season out of Justin Simmons. His schemes are really easy to conquer when it comes to that defensive back position, and he's a surefire candidate right now. The end of this round is where I'm more interested than the players in the beginning of the round, as I said. We get to 2.9. We have Stribling, drafted by the 49ers. Now, I didn't have him on my rookie guide. However, I'm not a scout. I'm not a professional analyst, and I don't claim to be a 49ers scout. Would probably have more information on Stribling than me. If they're willing to draft him so highly, then I got to consider him in a fantasy draft, right? Next player on my board, 2.10, Branch, went to the Falcons. There is nobody on this depth chart that scares me at all outside of Drake London. And there's rumors that Kyle Pitts may even be traded. So Branch is a guy I'm totally interested in. I'm buying into. People aren't talking about him enough, and I can probably get him later in drafts. 2.11 is another player. Chris Bell, drafted by the Dolphins. Earlier in the offseason, he was a first-round graded player, but he got hurt, tore his ACL, what have you. There is nothing wrong with this player, pending he is healthy, and he can move up that Dolphins depth chart really easy and be a wide receiver 1. I know that doesn't sound but it wouldn't be too crazy to see. You guys have been following my podcast. You guys kind of know the 3.1, 3.2 hole is kind of where I want to be this year because there's going to be some good edge prospects. Well, I'm going to start the run early at 2.12. Reuben Baines went to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And one thing about the Tampa Bay Bucks, Todd Bowles' system, he puts people all around the field. He'll put edges inside. He'll move the 3-4s. He'll move the 4-3 formations. He has systems that are just going to work. Bain, who got a lot of discredit this year because of his arms, that's not his game anyway. He's a bull rush player, and he likes to beat people man. That's exactly what the system is. He could not have landed in a better spot. With a 30.3% win rush rate, I'm very interested in him. Moving on to 3.1 and 3.2, I'll do them together. Akeem Mesidor of the Chargers. At first glance, this doesn't look like a good landing spot. At first glance, it looks like he may be a taxi stash next year. The case for Akeem Mesidor becomes clear when you realize the way they play Thule. Thule, they put inside on obvious passing downs. So Akeem Mesidor, who's a player that has a 21.3% pass rush win rate, that's in the 94th percentile, he could get instant play. I'm not saying he will, but he could. But at any rate, he is the Khalil Mack replacement, and he's the heir apparent, and he had 71 total pressures last year. So I'm kind of interested in him as a prospect, and I'll take him at 3.1 gladly, followed by Malachi Lawrence, who moved up draft boards. He's famous for having a 9.94 RAS score out of 10. You know, he was in the 99th percentile for speed amongst rushers, and that'll get you on the field early, especially in Dallas where they need players. We're in the middle of the third already. See how quickly this draft is going? There's players in here that I'm still kind of interested in, but maybe more as a dart throw. 3.3 Singleton went to the Tennessee Titans. Spears is more of an RB3 playing an RB2 role, and Pollard's more of an RB2 playing an RB1 role. Let's think about the case for Singleton. If Spears gets injured again and Pollard has a ho-hum season, Singleton could easily get carries early on, and this is a third-round pick. Lane going to the Ravens, that's a fine player as well. When we get to 3.5, there's a defensive back run that I'm interested in. McNeil Warren, Dylan Thieneman, AJ Halsey, they all have good landing spots, and you can put them in either order that you feel. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on defensive backs. There's going to be a run in your drafts at the end of it. 3.8 Jake Galladay, 3.9 Jeremiah Trotter, and you could actually put 3.10 Anthony Hill Jr. if you choose to. All of which are fine linebackers, all of which will get starts early on. Galladay's probably going to start out as a Sam and learn from Blake Cashman. Trotter could be the heir apparent from Levante David. He just has a little bit more of an uphill battle with Rosenboom already on the roster and Alex Anzalone. Anthony Hill is coming as a clear LB2. He can move up and down. I know he's not a coverage guy, but he had 17 sacks in college. You're probably going to play him a little bit on edge. For that window, you can take either running back. Because I ran out of space on this draft board and I wanted to prove the point, I didn't include Hill, but you can in your drafts. There's nothing wrong with that pick. 3.10 Malachi Fields. You're probably going to have to wait a year with the Giants to see how that plays out. Since there's a super flex, somebody's going to take Eric Nussmeier. Finally, the last pick of your drafts, we got Kedrick Falk. Now, this is a player that we're kind of down on. He's more of a 6'6" edge, run defender, not really known for his pass rush, but I'm willing to bet Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh moved up in the first round to get this guy. Obviously, they have a plan for him. So the question is whether or not can Robert Saleh put him in positions to make impact plays. I say so. I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen earlier considering the roster. Well, there you have it, guys. This is my entire mock. This is one we just did early. If you want more information or more of our content, you can go over to Fantasy and Frames. We have this all ranked by position content available to you right now. And over at the Fantasy Six Pack, we have 250 IDP linebackers ranked. Again, this was just kind of a little appetizer. Drafts are going on. This is what we're seeing, and I'll continue to try to post these throughout the season. I don't got anything else, guys. You have a wonderful day, and talk hard, everybody. Take care.